Hey, everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of 716 Sports Entertainment, the podcast. We are happy to have you guys back with us for another week of reviewing the week that was in the world of professional wrestling. So, I'm Mike. As you guys remember from last week, we've got Sean and we've got a special guest, Mr. T. Reese, who's going to join us to be talking about his opinions and give us some fun facts in the world of professional wrestling. So, guys, we had a busy one this week. A lot of fun stuff happened. We'll kick it off with Monday Night Raw. And the show that we had our first interaction between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. And that was fantastic. I don't know what you guys thought, but let's just open it up and talk about that John Cena promo on Cody Rhodes, because that was absolutely outstanding.
So that was quite the start to the show. Definitely not the direction I expected them to take Cena's actions and explanations. I mean, the gaslighting that he did was 100% like chef's kiss. And on top of that, Cody's reaction to it was just perfect. The little bit that he said was told the story, and that live crowd was nothing but perfect for what was going on there.
Well, I thought that I did like the way John Cena came out. I just myself wish it was a different angle. I wish he would have came out and was like, you know what, this is my last hurrah. I'm going to do everything I got to do to get a championship before I retire. I thought that angle, I thought that's what they were going to go with.
I agree.
But I mean, because just to me, I mean, it's been done so many times, that whole I owe you. You got Kevin Owens doing it. You have Drew McIntyre doing it. Now you got Cena doing it. I just thought that Cena, they should have did a different. This way you have more motive. You have a more understanding, and it will sell the story more. Is the reason why he's doing what he's doing. He wants that title so bad before he retires that he's doing anything he has to, even signing a deal with the devil.
That's where I thought it was going to go. But I think coming from Cena, it's a little bit more meaningful than it is from like Owens and them, with Cena having been everybody's hero for as long as he was. To see that kind of reaction from him is, I think, a little bit more jarring.
Yeah, completely agree. And I mean, I loved it. I loved the promo. I thought it was fantastic. And, we still got another, 4 episodes of Raw left between now and WrestleMania. And I tell you, and I know we mentioned it a little bit last week, but man, those European crowds, holy smokes. Like, those European crowds just make these things so much better. So many of these like lackluster matches that we saw, throughout the card, the different episodes that they were having, just get carried so much over, and the chanting that they had, the FU Cena and the let's go Cena sucks. And just like, I thought that was outstanding. And, as I mentioned last week, right now, I mean, I'm just loving Cody Rhodes. Like, I think, he's everything Cena did, I think just even helped elevate Cody even more a little bit. And, initially I was kind of concerned that going into the Mania match, if Cena was going to be a face, they were both going to get cheered. And that was going to kind of be a problem, right? Like, because you need, it's almost like you need a very clear face heel dynamic going into like such a high profile match. And I don't know. I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania now. And I hope that, to your point, Terrence, like that they build that up a little bit more. And like next week, when, he comes out and he explains why he sided with The Rock, or, why he, how he wants to go for number 17. And yeah, that'll be just fantastic.
I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised that they went with like you said, you need a clearly defined heel and face for a match like this. And I mean, when we watched Elimination Chamber, I called it before that this was what expected to happen. But I think, do we agree Cena wins at Mania?
Yeah, I think he has to, right?
Terrence?
I don't know. I just don't. Because, I mean, if he's done, I mean, he's not going to keep going, right?
He's staying through the end of the year.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I guess you could probably give it to him, build up another storyline for them to get back at each other, I guess.
Cody has to win it back at SummerSlam, maybe.
I mean, so many other storylines that can contribute to that.
Yeah,
But
even
how
if
do you think
Cody
Cena's
doesn't win it back, though, right? Like, I mean, you got so many programs with him, right? Like, you're gonna 1,000% have a match with Cena and Punk at some point, right? Like, and that could very well be your match for your 2-night SummerSlam SummerSlam that you're gonna have this year, right? Isn't that gonna be in Minnesota? This is gonna be the first year they're gonna do a 2-night SummerSlam. So I could absolutely see a high-profile heel John Cena versus a face CM Punk for the title, right? Like at a big show like that. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough.
I'm
Like I could go either way with it. I feel like Cena's probably going to take it off of Cody, and Cody's going to take a break for a little while. But I mean, I would assume by next year, this time, Cody Rhodes will probably be the champion again.
personally, I think Cena's going to end. I mean, yes, we're going to see Punk Cena at some point. Probably on a big show, if not SummerSlam, probably Survivor Series. I think it depends on when Cena's last official like big show is going to be. Because like I think if his last big show is going to be Survivor Series, I truly believe that Cena's last match is going to be against Dwayne.
Let's see it.
Mm.
When Cena turns back to being a face, when he has like a crisis of conscience or something, and The Rock wants him to do something, he can't. If he would say he wins the title, he can't do whatever The Rock wants him to do. It costs him the title, and that leads into a program for him versus The Rock to end his career.
I mean, they don't necessarily even have to give him the title to do that, though. I mean, you can have The Rock interrupt the match at WrestleMania and mistakenly cost Cena the belt.
Yeah, but they want Cena to have that. After everything Cena's done for the company, I guarantee you that Triple H wants to make sure he gets that record title.
What about The Rock, though? Where is he? Where does he stand in all this?
The Rock is best. It's whatever's best for business, and I think putting the title on. I mean, besides The Rock's ego, which we all know is everything, I think The Rock will do what's best for business, and I think putting the title on a heel Cena is best for business.
There's like so many things that I've been seeing and reading about what's going to happen in the main event too. Like they're talking about, potentially having Steve Austin come out. They're potentially talking about there being a third man involved in that too, which I mean, I know, one we'll get into a little bit later when we get to the SmackDown review, but you could bring Randy Orton into that feud real easy too, and have Randy Orton be the third man. And
Travis Scott.
Yeah, right. But I mean, we still at some point got to get a feud between Orton and Cody too. Like that's just ready for a big match there as well when they're ready to turn Orton on Cody Rhodes. So yeah, a lot of stuff to come up there.
My only concern about them adding people to that match is I don't want it to be an overbooked mess like we saw at the very end of the Cody Roman match, or like we see when we're watching some of like the AEW title fights where there's 9 million people coming out. Like you don't need 17 people interfering to sell the end of the match. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's what they did for Cody last year.
That's what I mean. It was a little bit much, and to see it happen again.
I mean, it was fun at the time, but
right. But looking back at it,
you look back at it, you're kind of like, okay, that was a little much. It didn't make any sense.
Like why did Undertaker come out who had zero part in any of that storyline?
Right, that's my point. It's like, okay, I don't know why Taker's in the ring right now. This is just
like everybody else
just for the fans. This was for the fans.
Yeah.
He probably wasn't even supposed to be part of it. He's probably backstage, and you're like, "Hey, you want to jump in here on this?"
Yeah, you got your gear. Get out there.
Right. Go over to the Harley and go pull out the stuff. Get your chopper out. I know you got your gear in there. No, but I think that's going to be. I mean, I could see it go either way. I think it can go either way. I don't think it can go wrong either way. So I mean, which is probably for me is the best kind of WrestleMania where you don't have
a clear winner.
You're going to watch a good match. No expectations. You're not picking who's going to win because you really can't tell. But I have fun with that. I just don't understand. I mean, I guess you could add. I mean, The Rock obviously is involved in it. I just don't understand who the other third person would be, because Randy Orton's got like 3 other storylines he's involved in.
He's going to be involved with that match.
He's involved himself.
Yeah.
him and Owens are going to be in that barn burner of a match that we'll get to later.
Mm.
Well, and the one thing too, we will have the week leading up to WrestleMania. Hopefully that Wednesday, we will do a predictions video for you guys, and we'll go up and down the entire card. We'll give our picks, and it should be a good one. So moving along.
Also, Mike, not to cut you off, don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, thank you. Like and subscribe. And if you guys like this stuff, please hit us up in the comments. We will respond to all of those, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear you guys agree or disagree with all of our stupid opinions, and just let us know how you're feeling about this. So with that, next we moved right into our first match of the night with Terrence's boy Penta.
Whoa!
Taking on Ludwig Kaiser in a fun no holds barred
match.
Right,
baby.
Gotta get that Sterobiero.
That's my man.
Outstanding match. Penta obviously picked up the win. There were some kendo sticks and a couple of steel chairs being smashed around there. Penta looks great, and I think Kaiser's doing some of the best work of his career there. And when we get to what happened at the end of the show there, we did have a promo a little bit later after the match where Penta was very clearly going to say some stuff to our boy Braun Breaker, and I think it should be a fun little matchup if we get that for the Intercontinental Championship at Mania. But I'll let you guys take it away here. What do we think of Penta and Ludwig Kaiser?
So Penta was a known quantity coming into this. I mean, if you knew any of his wrestling from everywhere, the guy is one of the best luchadors out there. Ludwig Kaiser looks like $1 million out there. I mean, even in a loss, the guy looks fantastic. And honestly, the ending to that match was pretty gnarly with that, quote, Mexican destroyer onto the chair. And then the Penta driver where it looked like Ludwig's head legitimately connected with the chair was pretty gnarly looking.
Yeah.
And Penta's promo after calling out, going for the title for the Intercontinental, I don't know if it's too soon to put it on him. I mean, I like Braun with the title. I like Braun being relatively unbeatable. So I feel like we're going to get, if we get a match for the Intercontinental title, part of me feels like it's going to be a multi-man match. You have enough people involved in all these different feuds that I could see it being like a 5 or 6 person, potentially maybe a ladder match, something crazy like that.
Well, I mean, the only thing I wouldn't do that because it's Penta right now. I think you're trying to still build him. I mean, you're still trying to build him for the WWE right now. So I don't know if I go. I would like to see him. I could see it. I'd like to see a one-on-one match, to be perfectly honest with you, just to sell Penta more.
Yeah.
You can put, and that's going to be a great match. I mean, you can't put, of all the matches, that's probably the best match up, person to person. That's going to probably be at WrestleMania. Like person to person, wrestling skills, each other, high flying, jumping around the ring. You got a big, strong guy who can pretty much do anything in the ring. Penta is that's my guy. All right. I mean, it don't get no better than Penta. My man he's got it, and WWE's feeling it. I like to see a one-on-one match, but I can probably see like a fatal 4-way.
My only thought on it being a one-on-one match is if you do a multi-man match, even if Penta doesn't win, he can still look strong by not taking the loss. You know what I mean? Sure. Like he'll still take the quote loss, but if he doesn't have to take a pin, if it's a ladder match, he doesn't have. You know what I mean? There's a variety of ways to still have him look strong in defeat.
Or I mean, or you can do it and give him the win. I mean, they have them two have a feud up to SummerSlam again. I mean, I can see those two wrestling, a few more times the rest of the year.
As long as it's not like with where Jay won the title for a week.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna have a title change, it needs to be a significant title change, and I feel like a 1-week title change for Penta would hurt his character more than it helped.
Yeah, the only thing I wonder about them doing a multi-man match, though, is it seems very clear that that's the direction they're going to go with the U.S. title over on SmackDown right now. Like you've got that on LA Knight, but You've got Strowman in that picture. You've got Jacob Fatu in that picture. You've got Jimmy Uso in that picture. You know, you've got Shinsuke still floating around there. So I could absolutely see that one as well being a multi-man. But then to your point, right? Like you've got AJ Styles, you know, kind of doing his thing with Braun Breaker a little bit. You know, I know Finn Balor and him just had the main event, but that's certainly not over with as well. Unless, I mean, we can talk about the Judgment Day in a little bit here because I think that there might be something going on with them in the Wyatt Six at WrestleMania. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. And I mean, to your point, like that match is going to be outstanding. Like, you know, even if we don't get it at WrestleMania, if we just get it as the main event, you know, let them go 30 minutes at the end of a Monday Night Raw. Like it's going to be absolutely outstanding.
So I like the idea of a multi-man match because I like being able to get as many people on the WrestleMania card as we can. Let them all get that fat paycheck. Plus, you have all these intersecting stories. I mean, AJ Styles, even though he was having that thing with Braun, I don't think you see him in this match. I think he has his own bigger feud that's going on with Logan Paul. But and that's the nice thing about 2 nights of WrestleMania is, and they're the longest shows of the year normally for both nights. That's significant time you need to fill. And I mean, you know as well as I do, there will probably be a squash match in there too. Like one of the women's matches will be a garbage squash match. But you need to fill out all that time, and this gets a ton of people on the card, and it lets you fill out a bunch of time.
Yeah.
What if they what if the Beast shows up? A lot of stories circling around that, you know, there's too much saying he's not going to be there because people are asking, which tells me the Beast.
Brock.
Oh yeah. Brock. I think Brock is going to show up in the what's going to be the main event of night 1.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what if he's the one that shows up?
Yeah, I think he's going to be your surprise that interferes in the Roman match.
No.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many things with Brock, right? Like, I mean, they want to do a match with him and Gunther at some point, right? Like, which, I mean, God, just inject that into my veins. But
I'll give you my reasoning on the triple threat with the Brock. Well, I think Brock will show up once we talk about that match later on.
All right. Yeah. So, you know, moving along, then we had a little backstage segment, as we mentioned, with Judgment Day, and you know, Dom noted that he's got Finn Balor ready to go for that main event that we're going to have with him and Braun Breaker coming up at the end of Monday Night Raw, which led us into our next match where we had Dakota Kai and Ivy Nile, which it was all right. Had a little bit of fun there, but we did have you know, some fun stuff on the sidelines there with Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio coming out along with the Creed brothers and my man Chad Gable in his fun luchador mask.
It's not Chad Gable. God. You see him getting taken out by security while they were interviewing people. It obviously was not American made.
Said he wants to be a luchador.
No, he said he wanted to learn the ways of the luchador.
The ways of them. Yes.
Oh, that man's doing some great work, and yeah.
I mean, he's taking over for the Miz. He's kind of like the guy that's now, you know, giving the push to everybody. You give him a little storyline, let them go up against him, ride it out for like, you know, 3, 4, 5 months, and then, you know, you set the market for the guy. But I like it. He is one of my favorites right now too, especially as being an annoying bad guy.
Yeah, completely.
My only problem with this women's match was that it felt like it was less about the actual Ivy versus Dakota match and more about progressing the luchadors versus Gable and that with American Made, which sucks because I mean, is Dakota Kai ever going to get a chance to like win something?
I mean, to your point, like, even if they, you know, they make her the #1 contender for Lyra's Intercontinental Championship, I still don't think she beats Lyra, right? Like, they're saving that for a big money match when Becky Lynch comes back, or, you know, they're going to put her against some just bigger name person, I think, to like kind of help to elevate that title, because I don't think they've been doing a good job with that title. I think Chelsea's done a much better job with the U.S. title, slowly building up her stable over on SmackDown, but I'm not impressed with the build, like the way that they're, building this title, the way they're presenting Lyra, and the way they're sort of putting her opponents together for this. Like, I mean, just do anything, do a tournament, do something, like, let these women like tell a story. Like that match that they had on SmackDown with Zelina Vega and Piper. I mean, even though Zelina didn't win, Zelina looked great. Like, it was a fantastic match that they had this past Friday. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the SmackDown review, but they need to do a better job with the women's mid card on Raw.
Real quick, you mentioned Becky Lynch. Did you happen to hear Rollins' comments this week about her?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how soon we're going to be seeing her, because apparently she is off filming some sort of like multiple movie roles.
Interesting.
The rumor is that she's gonna be in Happy Gilmore 2 with obviously your main star MJF. And then apparently, according to Rollins, she has some like big movie that she's going to be taking part in and filming.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it could be good. Then we had our contract signing segment between Io Sky and Bianca Belair for the women's match, going for the title at WrestleMania. I mean, before we get to the interruption that when Rhea came out, I thought this was pretty by the numbers. Like, they really didn't do much. They weren't really doing an excellent job of trying to build this up. And I think adding Rhea to the match adds the intensity a lot. I don't love that Rhea just, took the contract and just signed it and was like, hey, I'm just going to be in this match, right? Like, we clearly don't know how contracts work, Rhea. But,
she's Australian.
Yeah, I don't know. We mentioned this a bit last week. I think that, and it sucks because I think Io is the best wrestler of the three of them. I think Io's going to take the pin. And that's how you're going to get the belt, either back on Rhea or on Bianca. I don't see Io retaining at all. And I think she's really just there to take the pin, which is kind of a shame to me.
My biggest takeaway.
They even had her in there.
Yeah. Like, why I'd rather have her being the champion at all.
She almost feels like an afterthought for this little match / rivalry here. And I mean, my biggest takeaway is that Bianca still sucks. Her character just sucks. I mean, I'm not going to do anything because I'm just here signing my contract. And then, shut up, Bianca. You don't have a character. And it sucks because, like you said, out of the three of them, Io is clearly the best ring worker. I mean, obviously, it hurts. The language barrier hurts her a little bit. So she'll never be quite a champion to the degree that like Bianca or Rhea can be, just because they can get across to the fans better. But as far as moves, skill, lack of botches in that, honestly, I think it's Io, then Rhea, then Rhea, then Bianca for me. And honestly, mainly because Bianca just doesn't sell for anybody.
True. She's not very friendly in the ring. She's just not. I mean, if she takes hits, she just kind of moves her head a little bit. I'm surprised they didn't work on her more, but I think she rose to stardom so quickly that they really didn't have time to really mature her to get ready for the ring.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I mean, yeah, I don't understand, because what you're saying is right. That's the angle they're taking, is that Io doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The other two women she's not even noticed, which potentially could give us a surprise at the WrestleMania, and she does win it because it's too obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if that was the direction they took it, is that because everyone was underestimating her. They treated her like she doesn't even belong in this match, even though she's the champion, is definitely a way they can take it. I will say I like the fact that they are utilizing Rhea's gripe is the fact that Bianca should have never been out there in the first place during her match with Io, and that in essence cost her the match. Even though, like you said, that's not how contracts work. I'm assuming that that's going to be the storyline of how they get her in it, is that, hey, she was kind of cheated out of it, so let's add her to this so she stops powerbombing little Asian people through tables on people.
Oh man, which brings me to another point, and I know that the internet wrestling community, which we all know and love, has been a bit divided on this one. Wanting this match to be the main event of night one, and I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of folks who are like 50-50 on that, be having this match be the main event of night one over the Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns match.
No way.
There's no way.
How do you not give Punk his main event for the first time in 25 years? Like the guy deserves it, especially after the work he's done this year alone. The guy deserves his match. He should have had it last year if he wouldn't have gotten injured. You got to reward him with it. And honestly, that women's match is no disrespect to them as workers, isn't gonna pull the way that a Roman, Rollins, and Punk match will.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I get it. I know you're trying to, fluff up the women's division, but I just don't see how you overtake that match. I mean, you're not paying to see that match. Most people aren't. I mean, there are people out there obviously want to see the match, but nobody's paying to see that match. And your night one main event should be a match that everybody wants to see. You don't want to end the night on a note that possibly it's not going to be a great match. Well, a match that would be equivalent to Roman Reigns and Punk and Rollins.
Spitballing off of that too, how do you not have Roman in a main event?
Right.
Like it's Roman
Unless
Reigns.
he asked for it, unless he asked to not be in the main event and give it to them, fine. But I just don't see the WWE doing that. I mean, all the networks paid to get him on there.
Exactly.
And he's going to have the final say, right? Like, I mean, regardless of what those women want, what even Punk or Rollins wants, right? Like, Roman Reigns is going to have the final say. If he goes to Triple H and says, I want the main event, he's going to get it. Like, he's carried that company through COVID, that the 4 years that he was the champion. Like, he's what made them what they are right now. Like, doing the record business that they're doing, that bloodline story that went on for 4 years. I mean, Roman Reigns was printing money for the WWE.
On top of that, he's related to The Rock.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly. So moving on to what is shaping up to be just disappointing, and that's Jey Uso. I mean, I love Jey Uso. I think he's so over with the crowd, but I mean, what are we doing with this thing with him and Gunther and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller? Like, Jey Uso comes out, it's a quick little squash match basically with Austin Theory where he had a series of botches, which were a little bit disappointing. I mean, I know Jay is kind of the same guy in the ring, like over and over again, like, super kick, spear, dive over the top ropes. It's all the same stuff with Jay over and over again. And, I love that he won the Royal Rumble. I think it's great, but they've just not been doing a good job with this story with him and Gunther. And I mean, obviously, as we mentioned, right, nowhere near the main event does this match belong at all. It's probably going to open night 2. And I just don't really know. Like, every week it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, Gunther comes out after the Jay's match, beats the crap out of him and stands tall. Like, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this. I mean, he'll probably win at WrestleMania, but I don't know, just disappointing. And then we still have 4 more weeks left of just the same stuff with this, right? I know he's going to have a tag team match against Waller in Theory next week with a mystery partner.
Who do we think that's going to be?
Joe Hendry.
I would pay money for that. Money. I believe so. So, Jay, love Jay. Love the audience, the way the audience interacts, loves him. He is one of the top merch sellers. I mean, it was obviously they're rewarding him for all the work that he's done lately, and he deserves it. The guy has been company man since he was the fun-loving, face-painted Samoan tag team specialist that he started as. And my biggest problem with this is, like I said last week, is substitute Jay with Sami Zayn. And we have the exact same story as we did last year with Gunther. Literally to the T, where it's, you can't beat me. You can't beat me. I'm going to beat the crap out of you every week. Oh, you can't beat me. You have no chance against me. And then come WrestleMania, our hero does the unthinkable, overcomes that obstacle, and beats the unbeatable. And I mean, I still won't understand all the hate for Jay. Like botches happen. Like the amount of people hating on him for him botching that dive. Let's see these fat neckbeards in their mom's basement go try to do that and even make it over the rope. You know what I mean? Like the people that want to complain about this kind of stuff have no business complaining about it. And I don't think that's justified because mistakes happen. I mean, we've seen it in bigger named people make mistakes like this. You know what I mean? It happens. I mean, look at the year where the Mania where was it Undertaker went out, was supposed to land, and the cameraman missed him when he did the dive over the rope. Like that's the Undertaker, for God's sakes. It happens. Like, and as much as I want to see Jay win, the fact that we know it's coming downplays it a ton in my eyes.
Well, that's the tough thing that I don't think you can really sell Jey Uso anymore. He's already reached his ceiling. He's reached his ceiling like 3 years ago. And it's pretty much
an event Jey Uso.
Well, I know, but I mean, but it's he doesn't really change too much in his matches. You already know how the match is going to go. Yeah. I thought that, maybe the WWE would have, like, you're a singles wrestler now, that you would probably do a little more in the ring, a little more work in the ring, and not just repeating the same type of match over and over again. But I mean, when you're based off of sales, and you're going to get a push based off your sales. I mean, you got to try and make it work.
Yeah.
I like Jay. I like it. I mean, who else can get away with saying yeet? I still don't even know what yeet means still. I still don't know what yeet means, but you just go with it. You just go with it.
How do you turn it into such a huge catchphrase? Just a random word like that. I do think that if he does, if he wins the title, he doesn't hold it very long.
A little Kofi Kingston thing?
No, I think honestly even shorter than Kofi. Because Kofi held it for what, from Mania till the beginning of September that year when Brock came out and squashed him.
Yeah, for that smack.
Might have been October.
The only pushback I give you is the difference is Kofi wasn't a top merchandise seller at the time either. And
no,
you
but
had who is he's the top 4. He's in the top 5 of merchandise right now, I think, with WWE.
Yeah.
So it's a different playing field with him.
Yeah, but Kofi had that massive crowd push behind him, and he had like Daniel Bryan pushing for him at the time. Like you had big name people behind the scenes, because apparently, like, that, from what I understood from when the Kofi Mania happened, Kofi wasn't the person that they were going to go with, and then it just absolutely exploded, and they completely changed their roadmap to Mania at that point.
Hopefully they just do a better job with it, I guess. But we'll see.
They may involve somebody else in there, not to cut you off. They may throw another person in there to help carry that match.
They could. I mean, Gunther's top notch, right?
2 different levels of wrestlers, 2 different levels, and it's going to be. I mean, it's either going to be a squash match, which I could see.
Yeah,
I could possibly see that. That'd be the match that just kind of goes quick.
Yeah, maybe they swerve everyone and have Gunther win.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about pure technical ability, right? Like, Gunther is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. And I mean, should he win? Yes, absolutely. But I mean, I don't know. It's a feel good moment though, right? Like you give Jay winning, and everyone's going to be on their, hands in the air eating, and it's going to be a really nice moment for the WWE. They're going to get a million clicks on their social media for that, and it'll be great. But to your point, does he hold the title for a long time? Probably not. So then moving on, we had follow up to that the Dakota Kai Ivy Nile match. We had Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio had a quick little match with the Creed brothers, and as we mentioned, right, we had the Masked Man again, Mr. Gable, come out after the match to kind of run in and have a little bit more shenanigans going on there. And I don't know. This seems like we're going to have ourselves some kind of multi-man match, just to your point earlier, Sean, I think you mentioned it, just to get more guys on the card for WrestleMania. We We could have American Made. We could have, Dragon Lee, Rey Mysterio, and the rest of the LWO guys, all sort of doing their thing to to just have something there to get all those guys in the card. I mean, Rey Mysterio, Hall of Famer, legend, he's going to be on the WrestleMania card in some way, shape, or form, right? So if this is one way to do it, and they'll put on a fantastic match too, because the Creed brothers are outstanding wrestlers, and it's a shame they're not being booked a little bit better. I think pairing them with Chad Gable is the right way to go. Yeah, this was kind of a relatively nothing match. The humorous, part of the end there being good, but yeah.
So I think that, unlike what you mentioned, I could see this being a singles match between Ray and the masked luchador, or the masked American-made luchador. Because, sorry, I truly believe it is not Chad Gable. I mean, how could one man be in two places at once?
Right.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I'm not. I like that. I think that's going to be a fun match. Ray's definitely going to be involved somehow. This is how you know it's a new WWE, because Penta would have been tied into this match if Vince was running it.
Oh yeah.
If he would have even signed them, but Vince would have tied them into the lucha match, keep all the luchadors together, and let them all just do their own little thing. But yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I can't even argue that.
See, the problem is, if it was Vince, he'd have him out there riding a lawnmower coming out to the Mexico team.
Oh, Vince.
Yeah. I could definitely say Vince would have went a whole nother direction with Penta if he signed over.
For sure.
He probably, actually, tell you the truth, if Vince was still there, Penta probably never have been signed anyway.
No, I don't think so either.
He doesn't like to really, but what's weird too is I'm surprised to see Penta speak as much English as he does now. He hasn't really done that. Hasn't done it that often anywhere he's been.
No, he was never a real big English speaker. So I'm actually impressed by how good his promos have been.
Yeah, yep. And I just watched him on YouTube with Sheamus.
Yeah,
they were working out
the Celtic Warrior workouts. Those are so good.
I mean, I don't know. T, did you ever watch any of Lucha Underground?
Oh yeah.
I mean, going back and watching the Lucha Underground, Penta and all those guys on that were some of the best wrestling that you could see, and I'm glad to see him actually in the big leagues now.
No, when he him and was Killshot, what's his face?
Swerve.
Yep. Yo, listen, they had one of the meanest matches you ever see in wrestling. I mean, they went at it. I thought that the AEW was going to carry that. I thought they were going to try and get that match to go.
Yeah,
but they had too much going on. Yeah.
Well, when you consider how many former Lucha Underground guys are actually in AEW, it kind of surprised me that they didn't lean into any of that.
Yep, help them carry the company.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, again, anytime my boy Penta is involved in anything, I'm front row. Okay, that's my guy.
So then just quickly to kind of finish up Raw here, they had a quick sort of a nothing promo from Seth Rollins, basically saying, coming out, doing his song, doing his dance there, and just saying, hey, Punk isn't here, Roman's not here. I guess I'm going to hype up the crowd, and I'll see you guys on SmackDown on Friday, which we'll get into that in a little bit, but that could have been a backstage segment. It was just...
It was 100% to hype the crowd. I mean, Rollins' theme being as singable as it is, they weren't going to miss the opportunity for that. Why not just have him go out, do his setup Friday, and let the crowd have fun singing his song?
Yeah, well, he's gonna cost Roman that match. I'm calling it now.
You think Punk's gonna win?
I think Punk wins.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and I think Paul Heyman's gonna cost Roman to lose that match.
Yeah. Either Punk wins, or once we talk about SmackDown, like I said, I'll get into my Brock prediction for you.
Yeah. which takes us into the main event for the IC title, Braun Breaker and Finn Balor. And, they had a hell of a match. It was hard hitting. Finn Balor's great. I mean, initially, like right out of the gate, Braun Breaker just looks like a monster. That man is absolutely going to be the future of WWE. You'll see him in the main event of WrestleMania in the next couple of years. And, yeah, he looked great. We had a little bit of fun stuff sort of towards the end there. Dominic Mysterio and Carlito trying to cause the interference, but Dom sort of, I don't know if he tripped him or just sort of like pulled his leg a little bit, and Finn fell over on the ropes and kind of hit himself in the groin there, which I don't know, which caused Breaker to basically, run it out for the win there. We did have Penta run in at the end to make the save, and obviously, Breaker winning. We had that very clear stare down there between Penta and Breaker, which, as we mentioned earlier, that looks like it's going to be your IC title program. So, I don't know. What do you guys think?
So, Braun went to hit Dom when Dom was up trying to distract him. And when he went to avoid him, I think Dom hit the rope, and that's what caused Finn to get crotched. Honestly, I mean, as long as Finn doesn't hurt himself, the dude is always reliable in the ring. But overall, I think this is more so setting up your combination of your Penta and Braun, but also I'm not sure if it's going to be Dom that leaves the Judgment Day or Finn that leaves the Judgment Day. I'm leaning more towards the side of Finn leaving the Judgment Day and Dom taking over as the leader.
Yeah.
I could see that. I like that. But I mean, my only thing is, all right, if there's ever been a wrestler in WWE history has been underused and poorly used, it was Finn Balor.
Yeah.
His whole career, when he got that injury against Rollins, they just completely just left him in the dirt. They didn't even, there's no plan, never a plan. He's kind of just thrown in there. This guy could be, I mean, he could be in a main eventer for WrestleMania if you wanted him to.
Yeah.
He's a great wrestler. He doesn't get the credit for being a great wrestler in the ring either. I just think that, Vince sat on him too long because he didn't like his size. And I thought Triple H would have pushed him more into another direction. I can see him leaving Judgment Day, go back into being singles. People love the Demon. He hasn't done that in a while.
No,
I could see it. And let him go up against let them do what they did to Edge.
Yeah.
And let him start war against him.
Finn's injury completely derailed his career.
Mm-hmm.
Getting injured in such a huge marquee match and having to drop the title the next night, I'm sure that gave Vince the opinion of this guy is like glass and can't be relied on to be my top guy. And we all know how Vince is with his little guys. I mean, so Finn already had that working against him.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind because the guy is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. But that's just my thought.
Yeah, well, don't forget now too. He carried NXT too for a while. When he was in NXT, he was the man down there.
Yeah,
he was single-handedly the man down there.
Yeah, when he came back as the Prince and he was involved in that feud with Cole and all those guys, that was outstanding. That heel turn he had a couple years back, oh my God, was that great? But yeah, I mean, to your point though, I don't know. I mean, I know he just not that long ago he re-signed a contract with them, and I don't know. I could still see him ending up in AEW at some point in time. I just feel like that fits him better. Same we saw Ricochet go over there and everything else like that. I feel like AEW fits Finn Balor just a little bit better. But so that was Monday Night Raw, and good show, and I'm excited to see the next one. I'm excited for the build to WrestleMania. Which takes us to NXT, and NXT was a good one this week. We had a couple of matches. We won't spend as much time on NXT this week. I know we're already kind of at the 45-minute mark here, but NXT was fun. We had a match between Chelsea Green and Sol Ruca for the NXT for the U.S. title, the women's U.S. title, excuse me. And Chelsea did retain in this match. That was fun. I like Sol Ruca. She's she's a rock star. She's a real good wrestler, and definitely has a good future in front of her. I like it that they added Elba Fire to Chelsea's group with her and Piper Niven in them, and I think that's fun. And then they had that little thing with Zelina on SmackDown as well, which was also good. But solid match, and the NXT women's division is by far the best women's division in all of professional wrestling. It's not close. The women at the top, especially, Stephanie Vicker, Julia, outstanding, just absolutely outstanding.
So Chelsea Green plays the cowardly heel type character to perfection with her whole Karen type character, which I mean it hasn't been quite as prevalent with the Karen side of things lately, but I will also say that her finishing move when she hits the unprettier is 1,000 times better than Christian ever did it. Like, I don't know if it's because Christian was so short and Chelsea's taller, but when Chelsea does it, it actually looks like it's going to hurt someone when she drops her face into the ground. And her little faction works real well for her between having the variety of people they have with the big Piper as her main person, and then, like you said, adding Alba. I mean, I'm glad to see that they have something for Alba to do, as much as I would have liked them to have kept Alba's former partner with WWE. I can't remember her name at the moment, but at least we give her something to do. And then, like you said, Sol Ruka, and that goofy finisher she has with the basically an RKO where she does that weird flip, seems like the most impractical move in the world to pull off. But it's incredibly entertaining to see it happen. And them utilizing her with Zarya is, I think, going to be a pretty good mix.
Yeah, their women's division is on point. I mean, there's no other organization right now that's doing a better job with the women than NXT.
Yeah.
And
Shawn Michaels definitely knows how to book the women.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Oh man,
giving them some sweet chin music.
Yes, he's definitely giving sweet chin music. All of them.
Which takes us into a fun promo segment they had where Stephanie Vicker came out and fresh off of her title win against Julia last week, and she didn't get much out before she was quickly interrupted by Jordynne Grace, and quickly then again interrupted by one Jada Parker, who ran into the ring, and we had ourselves a little bit of a brawl there. So it very much seems like that's going to be our next matchup for the NXT Women's title there. Probably at Stand and Deliver. You get those three women in the ring. I would assume Stephanie Vicker will retain the title, a few weeks out when we finally get that match. But she's awesome, and definitely a great signing for WWE to get her into NXT. And Jordynne Grace is good. Jada Parker's excellent. I mean, I think it's going to be a fantastic match when we get the three of them in the ring.
So Stephanie Vicker is just being presented as a legitimate badass between just her skills in the ring, Booker T's love of her head slamming move, and even her entrance. My big question in regards to her though is how long does she stay a double champ? I mean, I've never been a real big fan of double champs because that takes away opportunities for other people. And I mean, obviously, this just shows that Julia must be injured with her not having any sort of interaction. So hopefully she comes back sooner rather than later. But Jordynne Grace, obviously a great choice to come out as a potential first challenger. And Jada Parker has definitely been coming into her own this last couple of months as far as an actual singles wrestler and not just like the mouthpiece for the tag team she was with before. I don't know that we'll see it as a three-way at Stand and Deliver. I could see them doing a number one contenders match between Jordynne and Jada, and unless like something hinky happened, have then like Jada versus Stephanie. I don't see them having Jordynne versus Stephanie quite yet, because I feel like that could be somebody who could take at least one of the titles off of her. I don't feel like you want her to hold the things for more than a month.
I'm with you. I can tell you this is the one person I think is going to have a real long career in WWE is Jordynne Grace. She's the next big thing when she gets up to the roster. She's gonna be the next big thing for women, and you need it. You the WWE roster needs an influx of really good women wrestlers right now. No more character stuff. I like the character stuff. That's why nobody's interested in them, because it's all character stuff.
Exactly.
I can definitely see she's going to be up there sooner than later.
I'm shocked it took them as long as it did to sign her.
Yep. I'm with you. That usually that type of body, when Vince was in, he would have signed her in a heartbeat.
Not on the women's side though. That she wasn't your Trish Stratus or your
she's the new China.
Your Stacy Keibler.
I guess.
We all knew where Vince's taste lay.
Oh yes, we did. Puppies.
Oh my goodness.
For sure.
Which we led us into a few matches here. We'll kind of speed through a couple of these matches. We had the D'Angelo family versus the Culling. Channing, Stax, Lorenzo, Luca Crucifino, and Adriana Rizzo battled Nico Vance, Brooks Jensen, and Izzy Dam in a 6-person tag match. Was the night's next match. That was fun. I like the D'Angelo family. I particularly love Tony. I think he's great. I know he wasn't in the match, but when I worry about when that act goes up to the main roster, if it goes up to the main roster, because I think it'll lose some of its luster, because they don't really do those kind of fun factions very well on Raw and SmackDown, looking at like the LWO or, other ones like that. But the D'Angelo family's fun, and, it was a fine match, I guess. Like it'll be interesting. The Culling obviously did pick up the win, but, yeah, I don't know. I really like the D'Angelo family. I like Tony a lot, and more to come from those guys.
So before I give my thoughts on that, we did miss a match. The Hank and Tank versus Josh Briggs and Inamura.
Yep. I was going to do that next, but
yep. We'll get into that then if we want to cover that next. But as far as the Culling versus the D'Angelo family, you're right. I feel like the D'Angelo family would lose a little bit of its luster moving up to the main roster. And honestly, I think this was less about this particular match and more about the fact that Tony got attacked backstage by Dark State, their new Nexus bad guy faction that they have, which I feel like needs a little bit more explanation for people to be able to get behind it. Like these guys have just been attacking random people. Like, give us a reason why you attacked Tony D'Angelo. You know what I mean? And then, I don't know. I think the best thing about the Culling itself is Shawn Spears. The rest of the people in the actual faction aren't particularly impressive.
Yeah, I really want Shawn Spears to get up to do something with him on that main roster. He's another guy who, he's another guy who, again, when Vince was running the show, made him into a joke, kind of guy that just, add some matches in there, carry, push a couple of guys. But when he went to AEW and he changed his character and became the chairman.
Yep, the chairman.
he changed his career. And I love him a lot. I think he's a great wrestler. I think they should use him more. I can't wait till he gets up to the main roster and they do something with him.
Hopefully, with him being as big of a friend of Cody as he is, will help him when he gets to the main roster.
Yeah, it's coming. He's gonna help Cody. I'm gonna tell you right now. He's gonna be, he's gonna be his guy.
Give us a Cody faction.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see it. You were right. In that, we obviously did right before that. We had Briggs and Inamura defeating Hank and Tank, which hard-hitting match. Those guys are, big guys, and they had themselves a fun match. And Briggs and Inamura look good. I think that was fine, and it's a nice little TV match.
Hank and Tank are a little bit too much of joke characters for me, personally. My biggest takeaway, besides the fact that Inamura's Frog Splash is probably one of the best I've seen since RVD used to do it, is I'm a big Josh Briggs fan. The guy definitely has the look. His promos are not quite there yet, but I think getting there. And he's hard hitting. I think that he's one that could potentially have a real good future.
Then we had Carmen Petrovic versus JC Jane. That was a fun match. JC Jane picked up the win. short little match, but it was fine. Everyone got a little bit of TV time, and I don't know. JC Jane hasn't been picking up a lot of wins lately, but I think it was a fine match. I like that. Adonis threw that steel chair in, and was telling Jane to hit her with that. But Petrovic looks good. She's continuing to improve her in-ring work. I don't know. I think it was fine. I mean, just a chance to get a couple more up-and-coming women on the card, and just to have to give them some TV time.
For a throwaway match, I don't really understand what they're doing with Petrovic and Adonis. Like, it seems like every other week they change like which direction they're going with the two of them. So it'd be kind of nice if they would just pick one thing and stick with it. And then as far as JC Jane goes, it's more than just her not seeming to pick up a ton of wins lately. It's that whole group. I can't remember what the name of their faction is. But that group of the three of them, of her, Fallon Henley, and then the third, I don't remember the third member's name, just is another one that just doesn't seem to pick up the wins.
And then our next match, Ricky Saints and Ridge Holland, they had themselves a fun little match, and I'm really glad to see Ricky Saints making his way into NXT. He looks great, big star. He's another one, to your point, another one of Cody's boys, and he's going to have himself a big future in NXT, and I have no doubt he's going to be in the title picture real soon. He looks great. He's a star. He's got the look. Like, yeah, and your point, right? He's fantastic on the microphone. He's absolutely going to be in this title picture sooner rather than later.
Yep, he's one of my favorites. I could definitely see it. As far as microphone work, that's what you mainly need to get up to that roster. And if you can use the mic, carry a storyline, and he's done it. I mean, the guy came from obscurity to to being the man across the world now. But yeah, I can't wait for him to get. I can't wait for the future for him.
Yeah. Then moving into our next match, we had an NXT Underground match. My boy Trick Williams versus Eddie Thorpe. That was outstanding as well. Trick knocking him out at the end of that match. The match itself was fine. I mean, the closing was outstanding, and it should be really interesting to see what's going to happen with Trick next. But I don't know. I was kind of getting like almost like old school Shield vibes watching Evans go face to face with Trick Williams there, and Vic Joseph made some comments there, just kind of pointing that out as well. I don't know. It should be interesting to see the way they go in the future with that, and I think, to your point you made last week, Sean, we're going to see Trick on the main roster real soon. Like, I think he's ready for it, and I can't see like much more time, with him being on NXT there.
Well, I think that's why they're holding on to Carmelo. I think they're going to wait for Trick to get up to the roster. I think they're going to team them up because they were great together. I think they're going to be teamed up as a tag team on the main roster, probably after Mania. And year one for them together, they're gonna put on a show for the whole year.
Yeah.
You muted.
Oh, yeah, we lost. Yeah, we lost your audio there, Sean. Is this bad radio?
Now?
It's a little
you got
muted.
to turn it up. Turn up your mic.
My mic is up.
Now you muted it. Now you're back.
Any better?
You're pretty. It sounds like you're far away.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Look at that face.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
So Trick has really come into his own since Carmelo went up to the main roster. I think that I don't know that I like the idea of him rejoining Carmelo when he gets called up, though. I mean, with the way that they had the breakdown and the feud between them all, part of me feels like he'd be better off on his own. I think my biggest issue with Trick, though, as far as in NXT, is they need to actually give him a chance to run with the damn title. I mean, every time he wins the title, he loses it a month later. I mean, Page. It happened with Oba. Like, honestly, I could see the way they teased the ending of that match with Javon Evans coming out and them all brawling. And at the end with Trick and Javon standing tall, even though they got into that shoving match. Part of me wonders if we see Trick win the title again. With and with Evans maybe helping him for it.
See it. I don't know. I have a hard time like seeing who's going to be the one to take the title off of Oba. I mean, Oba's just a monster, and I mean, I don't know. It's probably going to be Ricky Saints. I mean, like I could see.
No, Saints is going to win the other title.
Oh, the North American title?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so that was NXT. Good show. You know, slowly making our way towards Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania weekend. Should be fun. I always enjoy watching NXT. As I said last week, that's the best pure wrestling show every week. NXT puts on the best card. If you're going in for just wrestling, you don't care about the storylines, you love some of the goofy stuff, like with the D'Angelo family and everything else like that, NXT is the way to go. So our resident AEW fan here, Sean, is gonna kick us off here with what happened on Dynamite on Wednesday. Up your microphone.
I see it happened perfectly when you started talking about AEW. That's right on point. Nobody's listening.
Nope. No, we can't hear you, Sean. Technical issues over here.
Got better?
That's
yeah.
better.
So, not a whole lot to say about AEW this week, because they had a blizzard that impacted both their stars making it in and their the fans being there. Not that there's ever a ton of fans there anyway, but we got your typical Osprey match, but against AR Fox this time. I think the big things you get out of it is they determined 2 number 1 contenders for Omega's title, which I doubt we see him drop, but Speedball Mike Bailey in his second match in AEW and Ricochet both pinned Mark Davis to win the Fatal 4-Way, so they'll both be facing Omega at the next event. I doubt Omega drops the title. And then as far as women's go, they started setting up Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne. Toni Storm's not dropping that title at any time soon, I doubt. And then we have Mercedes beating Billy Starks to potentially set up a feud with Athena. And for the main event, we also had Adam Page saying he was entering the Owen Hart tournament, as well as Ospreay entering the Owen Hart tournament. MJF had his typical promo talking about how he's the number 1 guy who you should bet on in AEW. And then the main event was Mox versus Cope in a street fight once again for the title. Biggest thing in the wrestling world people were talking about with that was the fact that Mox got stabbed in the back with the spiked bat, and Wheeler Yuta had to come literally pull the thing out of him, which was absolutely disgusting, and I feel like an unneeded thing. But in typical fashion, Mox once again retained the title, and we are going to be getting to Mox versus Strickland at Dynasty, where hopefully Strickland will take the title off of him.
Mox is going to be the first guy to like die in like a major promotions wrestling ring, like on live television. That man is just completely insane. Like every week, it's just another crazy spot. Like somebody's going to pull out a gun and literally shoot him as part of.
He'll probably pull out a gun and shoot himself.
Like, dude is just crazy. Like, absolutely crazy.
I think he's overdoing it. He left WWE.
Yeah,
and I think he's trying to keep AEW relevant, some sort of clip value for them, and I think that's why he pushes it to the limit every week. Because I mean, what he complained about in WWE is what's happening in AEW right now. It's just all over the place. They're not holding storylines. I think that's why he's going extreme. But I want Mox back. WWE, bring him back.
I don't know if he'll ever go back, but
yeah, he probably won't.
I was never really a big Dean Ambrose Mox fan. Out of all 3 guys in the Shield, probably my least favorite.
Well, he wasn't the most popular of the three at the time, but he had his push before he left.
He did.
And then Vince kind of threw it away.
Before you guys start talking about SmackDown, you guys can start without me. I'm going to back out to try to get my microphone working again, okay?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was AEW. Thanks, Sean, for that. SmackDown was outstanding. I mean, another great show. Started off with my man Randy Orton, lighting it up there, coming out, kicking off a promo where he was immediately interrupted by Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens just cutting another fantastic promo, trying to completely gaslight the shit out of Randy Orton, being like, "Oh, I didn't mean to hit you. We should start our tag team up again, and we should go for those tag titles." And Randy Orton was basically like, "Nah, you're full of shit. I'm gonna kick you in the face at WrestleMania, and we're gonna have a match, and it's gonna be outstanding." And I have no doubt that maybe they add a stipulation to that match at some point, but they did make that official, and I hope that if that match does not end with Randy Orton punting Kevin Owens, I'm going to be disappointed.
I cannot wait for Randy Orton to kick Kevin Owens' head out of Las Vegas. All the way back to Canada. Because this is the punt. This is the punt that everybody has been waiting like 12 years for.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been that long since we've seen Orton punch somebody in the head.
Mm-hmm.
And all it took was Vince McMahon leaving for us to get pile drivers and punts back.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's definitely another storyline that Triple H has put together well. He's brought everything full circle again. We're not leaving anything for us to like, hey, what happened? Why did we stop that? That they're angling that really, really good.
Yeah, completely agree. Which led us into our first match of the evening: Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso defeating Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura via pinfall. This was kind of a nothing match. We did have Priest pinning Nakamura after a bunch of shenanigans, but the post-match angle being outstanding. Drew McIntyre just looking like a friggin' killer, just coming out and beating the absolute piss out of Damian Priest, and really, really, really trying to sell this WrestleMania match that he's clearly going to have eventually be made official with Priest. But I loved how Priest looked, like his eyes just looked completely glazed over, like when he got just the absolute piss beat out of him by Drew McIntyre, who just looks like an absolute killer. And this is probably going to be a relatively nothing feud after the fact, but I'm sure these guys, they're both great workers. I'm sure the match will be outstanding, but it's probably going to be one of those one and done matches.
Can I just say this real quick? Getting back to the Kevin Owens thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Best line of the year. Bitch, Kevin, bitch. One of the best lines of all time. I'm waiting for the t-shirts to come out.
Love
it. So my only concern, as far as Priest McIntyre goes, is it's going to be a fantastic match. Both guys, like you said, are great workers. My only concern is that it's going to be another McIntyre WrestleMania loss.
You think?
Because
I don't think so.
Yeah. With the way he's been demolishing Priest, usually that's a bad sign for the person who's doing the demolishing.
Maybe.
That was Charlotte. Charlotte used to beat the piss out of people and still win the match in the main events. I don't know. I don't see them screwing Drew over again.
T, what's Charlotte's last name?
Huh?
What's Charlotte's last name, T?
I get it. I get it.
Charlotte Winslow.
Exactly. Her last name is Winslow. But my bigger problem with this tag match is, A, why is Jimmy Uso in it? And B, what Shinsuke? I'm so disappointed in everything that they've done with Shinsuke. I wish that they could have done more with him.
Well, I think a lot has to do with it's the language barrier. I think there's some ways I agree with Vince, and there's other ways I don't. A lot of it is how you market him. But I think with Shinsuke, he's been in WWE for so long that at some point, you got to be able to use a mic. You can't keep mist and wearing samurai outfits for so long. You only can do it for so long. You got to do something else.
I mean, it's still better than when his character was literally nut punching people.
That feud with Styles was fun and completely underdelivered, but it was fun.
How many groin punches can you get in a single feud? Pretty sure that would set the record.
Yeah.
Which led us into our first backstage segment. LA Knight saw Braun Strowman looking juiced and, told him good luck out there in his match with Jacob Fatu. And Strowman had noted that Aldis had promised him that the winner of that match later on in the evening would get a U.S. title opportunity. But, as we mentioned earlier, just talking about the U.S. title scene, like all those guys who were in that match before, minus McIntyre and Priest, Nakamura, Jimmy Uso, Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu, maybe even Solo and Tama Tonga, right? Like getting all these guys on the card in like a crazy sort of multi-man match for the U.S. title just does not seem, seems like that's just the way we're going to go, right? Like, I don't think we have enough time for them to, do like some kind of bloodline implosion match between Solo and Jacob yet for WrestleMania. It's not that's going to need a little bit more time, maybe Backlash or something like that for that. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
So it definitely seems like that's the way they're going to be starting. They've already tried to start the implosion. Once we actually talk about the Strowman match, well, I'll say some more about that. But as long as Strowman can stay healthy, I like seeing them utilize him. You know what I mean? Problem is he's another one of those guys who, the second he starts to get on any sort of roll, he hurts himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He can't stay healthy. And that's the tough thing with big guys. I mean, that's generally, people like The Undertaker and Kane were anomalies when it came to big guys. They didn't get hurt enough that often enough where they couldn't continue a storyline.
Yeah.
But Strowman, that's Strowman's problem. He just can't stay healthy. He's not the most nimble guy in the ring, so that doesn't help either. But yeah, I'm fine with it. Whatever. Use them. You need some big guys in the WWE. There's not a whole lot of them anymore. So you might as well use them.
Yeah, completely agree. And before we get into the segment that happened after that, we'll just talk about that match that happened shortly after. Strowman did defeat Jacob Fatu. Obviously, there was some, interference by the Bloodline. Solo and Tama Tonga came out, and due to some miscues, costing Jacob Fatu the match there, and Strowman is going to get a U.S. title opportunity against LA Knight. I don't think he's going to beat LA Knight, obviously, at all. And, to your point, like probably going to be a multi-man match or something like that. And then, after the fact, they slowly were showing Fatu going nuts in the backstage area, getting pissed off at Solo and everything else like that, and slowly going to build up that match between Solo and Fatu at some point. But they're doing everything in their power to protect Fatu. I'll tell you that much.
The match against Strowman next week for Knight is 100% going to end in a bloodline attack. There is no way that match does not end in a DQ.
Yeah.
Like I would bet everything on it.
Yep.
And I like the idea of them sowing the seeds of the Solo Fatu breakup. And with Fatu losing his mind over the fact that they claimed he was in a bad position and about to lose the match, and that's why they interfered. Because that also implies that they didn't think he could do it on his own. I definitely like that. I think that the sooner Fatu kicks the crap out of Solo and goes off on his own, the better. Because I think the guy is, I don't know if he'll be a future world champion, but he'll definitely be in that picture.
Yeah, I just don't see. The only thing is he's going to have a manager. He's going to have to. He can't just go solo. He's got to have somebody that can speak for him when he goes solo. And the question is, who's that going to be? But that's the only way he's going to go solo. He's going to have a somebody to speak for him, because he hasn't even used the mic yet once, has he?
Very little, but I don't know if that's by design. He was a champion in the lower companies that he was with, so I'm curious if he never did promos for them. I guess we need a chance to see what his promo work actually looks like.
Well, you kind of got. Well, that's the tough thing with you when you bring somebody in the WWE who hasn't been on that level yet. The whole promos, and then those smaller companies, nobody's really paying attention to them unless you're in that market.
Yeah.
But WWE, he's going to have somebody hold. He's got to have a microphone guy. He's got to have a mic guy. That's what I think is going to happen. He's going to have a manager. That's going to speak for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, he looks like a killer. He's got the look. He's fantastic in the ring. That moonsault that he does, just oh my god, chef's kiss there. Yeah, he's great, and I like the the mid card scene on SmackDown looking good right now.
Well, let me ask you, before we move on real quick, what do you guys think they're going to do with the bloodline after this, though?
Wasn't there some talk about Hikuleo coming up at some point too?
Mm-hmm.
There has been, yes. Where's the other Tongan Ben?
Is he he's
injured.
I thought they released one of them.
No, they're all still there.
No, I think Tongaloa is injured. I think he got injured in that War Games match.
Oh, when Bronson got hurt.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could replace Fatu with Hikuleo. I mean, I guess we'll have to see. I feel like the bloodline is kind of run its course at this point without Roman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they ended that fairly quickly either. The whole feud with him and them and Roman anyway. You got to see them trying to get that over with.
I mean, once Roman beat him, where else could they take it?
That's it.
Exactly. And it just seems like Roman is way too big of a star. We touched on this a little bit last week. It seems like you got a couple of guys, like especially Roman and Cody. They're way bigger stars than everybody else on the roster. And it's not close. Like, you see Roman Reigns come out and we saw it for 4 years, right? Like, they packaged him like a mega star, and they packaged Cody like a mega star, and like some of these other guys, like, it's just, you're not on the same level, right? Like, it is not believable at all that somebody like Solo Sikoa is going to beat Roman Reigns. It's just not going to happen. And it's just the way that they're presenting him. It's the way that they package those guys, together. Which leads us to perhaps the worst segment on the show, in my opinion, and just the build for this one. Not quite as, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this one or the Jey Uso Gunther one, but poor Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. Like, my God. So they had a backstage promo segment where they were both on like split screens, and like Tiffany was very clearly just reading off of a script and like getting flustered, while Charlotte was like, I mean, I'll give Charlotte credit. She was trying to do her best to like carry it and make it interesting a little bit, but like, this is going to be awful, and I think Charlotte's going to kill her, and like, this could be your squash match at WrestleMania. Like, I don't see how Tiffany wins this. I mean, maybe she'll get it back at SummerSlam or something like that, but I think Charlotte's going to kill her, and I don't even think it's going to be close.
See, I don't know. I feel like this could be the swerve match, where since Tiffany's been getting the shit kicked out of her every week, I mean, she's the only advantage she's gotten so far was when she hit that moonsault off the screen last week. Outside of that, Charlotte has pretty much been demolishing her. And I mean, yeah, Tiffany wasn't the strongest with her line delivery, but some of what she said I liked, like talking about how Charlotte always comes in and finds the hottest thing and just basically demolishes it. You know what I mean? I liked that line. I thought that was decent, and I don't know. I'm leaning towards this 100%, most likely being a Charlotte win, but I feel like there's a tiny percent that could be a swerve.
Yeah, I'm not too. It's a great line. What Stratton said, it was a great line. What the message was there. She just can't deliver it.
The delivery was where it was off.
Yeah, so I mean, so it doesn't really hold. I mean, I know what you're saying. I knew what you was trying to get at, because I was saying it in my head, like, this is where you should go with this conversation. But she's not ready to go with a mic with Charlotte. I don't even know why they did that. They shouldn't even have done it. They should just put them in the ring, let them do something quick, and
do a face-to-face promo.
Yeah, that's what they probably should have did.
Yeah,
Tiffany should be okay with the face-to-face promos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we'll probably get one next week, but
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I didn't understand that one at all.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, I just don't care about this
No.
match at all. Like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom when this match happens. Like, I really
Nah.
just don't care. Just don't care. Yeah, we had a quick backstage segment with Liv Morgan and Raquel, who just, touted how wonderful they are, and Liv quickly talked about how she's gonna beat the crap out of Jade Cargill a little bit later on in the show. And I mean, Liv is great. Like, Liv has just been one of the MVPs of the women's division. She's really upped her game lately. She looks fantastic in the ring. She's definitely been able to carry people, and I'm really impressed with Liv a lot. We'll talk about her match with Jade in a little bit, but yeah, Liv has been fantastic, and I'm glad that they got the tag belts on them right now.
So Liv's promo work has always been pretty top tier as far as that portion of her game goes. I mean, obviously she has the looks for the women's division. She's definitely upped her game as far as in-ring work. I still remember when she won her first title beating Ronda, and how terrible that looked. And
that was Ronda too, though. I mean, Ronda was garbage. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I didn't care for Ronda at all.
Which is crazy considering that how do you take somebody who's a real fighter who then can't figure out how to fake fight? Like, part of me still wonders if all of that was just an attitude issue for Ronda and her thinking she was better than everyone. But Liv definitely has increased her skills, has definitely gotten way better, which as evident by the fact that they gave her the title a second time. And I mean, like, as repetitive as her matches with Rhea and that all got, pretty much all of those matches were good matches.
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah. Liv's come around, pretty well. And considering where she started, she was kind of like the background person. What was the faction she was in?
It was. Oh my God.
Was it the whole page?
No. It was the one with the one who became a Viking for a little while, and then the one who Ruby Soho, and then the Riot Squad. Who was the other one? The one that was like a Viking for a little while, and then I think they released her. Sarah Logan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. She came full circle from that, but she actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't expect her to hold, to stay this long, and she's doing a great job. She's doing a great job right now. She's definitely one of my favorites as far as the women go, just because she's so good at playing the heel.
Yeah, completely agree. Which led us into our next match. We touched on it briefly a little bit ago, but Piper Niven and Zelina Vega, and they gave this one a lot of time. Like, this one got 2 commercial breaks. I think they're really building up Zelina like a lot. I could see her, finally getting that match with Chelsea. I mean, she did lose. Piper did beat her, but I mean, it took all 3 of them like interfering and, just a ton of stuff. But Zelina got a lot of offense, and I know it's tough with Piper, right? Because she's a bit bigger, and it's always tough, for the match quality, right? Between like a really small person who's 4'10", like Zelina is, versus somebody who's Piper Niven's size. Like, it's going to be tough for Zelina to look like she's throwing her around. But they gave this match 2 commercial breaks. I think Zelina looked good. One thing I did want to touch on, though, is just the music stuff. Like, I saw a bunch of people talking about this too. Zelina's music got repackaged, and so did the Street Profits. I think their music got repackaged too, and I don't know what the hell WWE is doing with this music. Like, it's just trash. Like, we need to do a better job with this music. I can't stand it.
I don't know that Zelina is ever going to be able to carry a title. And as far as the music portion goes, is that because they're one person they were doing the music with left?
I think so. I think that's what it was, and they got that Def Rebel doing the music or whatever. I just don't care for it. I don't like it at all. It's like very WWE 2K25 create a wrestler music. Like, not interested. Then that took us into our next match almost immediately with Liv and Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill, I mean, I like the new look with her hair. She looks solid. She looks like a killer. And, what we said about Liv earlier, right? Just being the absolute MVP and making Jade look like $1 million. And, we all knew that this match was going to end in a Naomi sort of coming out and building that match with Jade for WrestleMania. That's absolutely going to happen at this point. But Liv looked like $1 million, and she made Jade look great. And, Jade got a few power spots, and Liv got her at the end, and Naomi beat her down pretty senselessly, and I think that's where they're going to go with that.
I don't know. I just hate that we're getting that it's Naomi and Jade at Mania. I feel like your money match there would have been Jade and Bianca, especially with Naomi not being anywhere near as skilled as Bianca. I mean, Jade still isn't the greatest in the ring, but if she has someone who can let them hit her power moves on them, which I'm assuming I could see it being a squash match with Jade dominating Naomi and just beating the crap out of her as revenge. Just hitting all her power moves and going from there. Because other than that, I mean, once Jade gets a little more polished in the ring, she'll have it all. She has the look. She's got the power. She's got her promos are surprisingly good for somebody who has only been in wrestling for 2 years, basically 2.5 years. I don't know. I think that if they can get some things polished on her, she will be fantastic.
Yeah, she's got to keep the heat off herself in the locker room.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing. I mean, because as a specimen, she's as far as physique and the ability to move around the ring, I don't think there is anyone with her stature that's better. The only problem is she needs some refinement with the matches. I mean, it's kind of like power move after power move after power moves. She's got to add, and she's not a very good seller either. She doesn't sell very well either. She's got to work on that. But
that comes from experience, I think.
Yeah, that was a good match though. I had fun watching that match. That was a good one. That was one of the highlights, I thought, having Jade come back and do that match. That was a good one.
Yeah. We had a quick backstage segment with Kathy Kelly and Drew McIntyre, who's going to be looking for Damian Priest next week in London, and which led us to the Street Profits coming out for an in-ring promo talking about how they are now, the tag team champions, first times in 4 years. Quickly interrupted by Legado del Fantasma and Santos saying it's too bad, your title reign's going to cut short because of, Los Garza, which then, had Pretty Deadly come out to remind everybody that they are, in fact, the #1 contenders for those tag titles, which led us into a match, the Street Profits and Los Garza. And, during the commercial break, we did have a segment with Pretty Deadly and DIY in the back. And, it was kind of a goofy little fun segment where where DIY had asked them, hey, if we help you guys out next week, will you guys give us a #1 title shot? And Pretty Deadly was like, no, absolutely not, for them to be immediately interrupted by the Motor City Machine Guns, who basically told Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, to get to the back of the line. But the match was fine. Dawkins and Montez look great. The Profits obviously retain their titles against Los Garza, and we'll see them next week. And I have a feeling this is moving itself into like a 5-way for those titles at WrestleMania. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
So the match itself was kind of pointless. It was more so the story aspect of it that was big for this. I agree. It's about time that they put the titles back on the Street Profits. Because if you're not going to let Ford go off and do anything on his own as a singles wrestler, then at least use him as the great tag team that they are. The match, like I said, meaningless, but I feel like this is building to either a 4 or 5-way TLC or some sort of weird stipulation match at Mania. I mean, you have all these tag teams that are 100% in the running for it. And I think Street Profits win it regardless.
It's going to be a ladder match. It's going to be a ladder. I think it's going to go right to a ladder match. And I don't think you're getting around that. I think it's a perfect match for the Street Profits because it gets to allow them. I mean, let them dominate. If you ask me, I'd let them dominate. Let them. It's about time. They've been sitting in the backstage area for weeks and months and years. I'd let them dominate the whole thing. I'd let them roll right through the whole all. Really, I'm be honest with you, WWE, if there's one hole right now is they don't focus enough on tag teams, and they don't have enough good enough tag teams. They got character tag teams. They don't have enough good enough actual workers to get in the ring and put on a good show. Street Profits are one of them. I love to see them in Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, you can do anything with them, but I think you let them dominate that match. I think they win it. I don't know about the shorts. The shorts look kind of weird to me. D'Angelo, you're a big guy, man. It doesn't look good. Put the tights back on, man. It looks like you're about to go out to Delaware Park over here and go play some basketball. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. I need him to change his look.
Which led us into our very, very hyped up main event, which wasn't a match, but our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, came out with Paulus, and Roman finally did, Bologna, Italy, acknowledge me, which, God, I've been missing that, and that man, just such a star. Had a few quick words. Basically, it was like, CM Punk ruined my WrestleMania aspirations, so I came in last week and I cost him that match. And then Seth Rollins tried to end my career at the Royal Rumble, so I killed him too. And I love it. Roman's great. Roman has come he's come such a long way on the microphone, but he only got a few minutes here, and he was interrupted by Rollins. Rollins, I thought, was probably the weakest link of this whole sort of segment. He didn't really have much to say initially. He was just kind of whining about CM Punk again, and then he finally did get into some good sort of history stuff there, where he was like, this thing between you and me has just been going on for forever, Roman. Like, there's no Roman Reigns without Seth Rollins. There's no Seth Rollins without Roman Reigns. And then, there was finally some good stuff there when Punk came out, and Punk looked awesome. Mentioned the favor that he had with Paul Heyman, and said to Roman, look, like, I saved your ass at War Games, and it just quickly led into a pull-apart brawl, and all three of them sort of got their moment in the sun there to kind of look over at the WrestleMania sign, and I don't know. I don't see how this isn't going to be the main event of night one, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
So the promo work was fantastic. All of them going at it was great. I did like Punk's line about Heyman serving him Roman on a silver platter, basically. And the doubt that kind, like the look that Roman gave Heyman after that, which is part of why I think that this is going to start involving more Heyman guys when Curtis Axel comes out and costs them the match. No, but in all seriousness, there's no way that this, or watch me Ryback. There's no way that this is not the main event of night one. Punk's never had a main event. This gives him a main event. It gets Roman, your biggest star outside of your Rhodes and your Cena, in the main event. And Rollins could put on a great match with a potato. Like, the guy is probably the best actual in-ring technical worker, I think, in there. As far as his athleticism, his moves, Rollins is the total package. And leading into what I was talking about earlier, I think that with this slowly turning into a Heyman thing on the side, that's why I think we could see a Brock interference. Have Brock come back. Brock comes out, demolishes all of them, because Brock has had issues with all three men. He lost the title to Rollins after getting stomped in that match against Reigns. He went for as many matches as he did with Reigns, having all those issues. When he brought the tractor out and lifted up the ring, he had that issue with Punk where they had that Mania match, and even that match surprised me. I never thought that one, a CM Punk Brock Lesnar match. Actually, I think it might have been SummerSlam, not Mania, but I never thought a match between the two of them would be as good as it was. And I feel like that is an additional wrench that could be thrown into this storyline.
Yeah, that's probably my call. Definitely, I think Brock gets involved in that somehow, some way. You see him Monday night explaining his reasonings, everything you just said, Sean. He's going to bring all that up.
Yep.
Every one of it. The question now is going to be, where do you go from there? Who's the next guy? So whoever What's the storyline going to be against Roman? I mean, we've done that for years. I don't know if you want to keep riding that one. I'd like to see him in Rollins in a little bit of a feud.
Yeah. The other problem too is with it being a triple threat, technically it's a no DQ. So even if he comes out and destroys all three of them, who wins the match?
Yeah. That one's a toss up. I don't know if they give Roman. I don't know if they give it to Roman.
Part of me is leaning towards Punk.
I think Heyman's going to cost it. I think Heyman's going to cost them the match.
Going to cost Roman.
Roman, yep, it's going to cost Roman the match. I guarantee.
I can see that. Punk. That's how it could go. Lesnar could come out, destroy all three of them, and then pull Punk on top of Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And then walk away with Punk laying on top of Roman and gets the pin.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget they had Heyman in the ring consoling Punk.
Exactly.
I think it's a cage match.
Yeah. Yep. So I can tell you right now, he's gonna cost Roman. Roman's gonna be the one to get the pin. Somehow Heyman's gonna get involved, and he's gonna cost him the match. This is how you break up the Heyman and Roman Reigns thing.
Yep.
I agree. All right, so that was our week in review, guys. And
before we close, I have two more comments. In regards to SmackDown, and Terrence giving us 0 B8 over there. The vignettes, we still think they're Phoenix and Aleister Black?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the internet. It's no secret.
I mean, the Phoenix one, I'm almost 100% sure on. So we do think Aleister Black, though, for the other one.
Yeah, and I don't think we see either one of them until after WrestleMania.
Yeah, probably the first SmackDown after Mania. And then where is Alexa Bliss? Like, I don't know if you saw the news where she got pulled.
At Mania. Not to cut you off, you may see them at Mania. One of them.
Yeah, true.
Maybe Aleister Black shows up at Mania. Maybe he gets involved in
those matches.
Yeah, he may get involved in one of the matches.
Yeah, I heard them talking about something with the Judgment Day versus the Wyatts, and then I've also heard something about Alexa and Nikki going after the tag titles. Like, I could see something like that. I don't know, but I don't know what they're doing. Like, Alexa randomly got pulled from the WWE World thing before.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd. I mean, she made such a big splash when she came back at the Rumble, and then it's been sort of crickets after the Chamber thing.
Exactly.
Wasn't the White Six? I mean, that was probably the most disappointing thing I've ever seen WWE in a long time. Is the White Six thing? I thought they're going to run amok in the WWE, and there's
with Bo Dallas getting hurt. That's why they've been off. Apparently, he got hurt.
That's why I thought Alexa was going to come back and take over the faction.
Yeah, they were teasing. Apparently, Bo has been cleared, so hopefully that's a sign that they'll start this.
Yeah, but since we waited for all these introduction of all these characters, but they haven't really done much. They can actually be getting their asses kicked though most of the time.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
But I thank you for letting me get that last part in before we closed here. I was just curious on your thoughts on those.
No, hey, you got it. And thanks, Terrence, for joining us this week. And hey, everybody, if you guys like this content with us and you want to share some feedback, hit us up in the comments. And thank you guys so much for this. We really appreciate all of our subscribers. And we look forward to talking to you guys next week. Thank you so much, and we'll see you.